Welcome to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore, and I think you guys recognize my sidekick, Ron. I hope everybody's having a good night.
Second host.
So I wanted to bring you guys up to speed on what's been going on. My nephew, Timothy is doing well over in Virginia Beach. He's, recovering from his 4th round of chemo. We still don't have any news there. My nephew, Vincent, some of you know him as Boomer. He got moved to another facility, and he's breathing on his own. But we still need your prayers for both Timothy and Donna, and Judy and Vincent. And please keep those prayers coming, because that's about all I can do at this point. Ron and I will be going to see all of them at the end of the month. So we'll have updates at that point. But my sister Judy's keeping us informed every day. Donna lets us know if anything's going on. So please keep those prayers coming. And if you want to help out in any way, reach out to me and let me know. I will tell you exactly where you can. I can tell you where to go, but I can tell you where to go to help out. So, but that's where we are. So I'd like to thank everybody who's been praying and has been sending me encouragement and everything. And I'd like to thank, and I'm pretty sure they're not listening though, the Shelby Valley Church of Christ in Virgie, Kentucky. They have been helping Donna and Judy out with all kinds of stuff with their families and things like that. So that is a huge thing for me to know that somebody else is there helping them when I can't be right there. So thank you guys. So, and now on a happy note, got a guest.
We got Susan and Mike.
Susan, Mike,
and Tom, Crystal, and my mom. Yep. And so hello, everybody.
Hi, guys. I would like to welcome our guests to the show. You guys, some of you have met Dan Williams in person, and some of you have seen him on my show before. And we are going to talk to him. He's from Paranormal Research Institute, and they are more scientific than touchy-feely ghost hunters. So I think you guys will enjoy this more scientific type talk. So I'd like to welcome Dan Williams to the show.
Hey guys, what's up?
What's up, Dan?
We're good. I hope you're doing well. It's been a while since we talked.
It has been a while. Yeah, I was just like looking at the Florida out your window there.
Oh yes, the rainy Florida. We're in the.
This is our rainy month.
Well, it's better than the hot and muggy Illinois months, so yep. I'll trade you any day of the week.
No hurricanes in here in Milton.
Well, we don't have any hurricanes either.
Oh, we'll have that.
No, we have that too. We have fires running. Yeah, but we also don't get ice and snow. Oh,
well,
that's right.
True.
We did get ice and snow.
Yeah, once every.
But normally we don't get ice and snow, and our humidity is we have humidifiers running, and it's still 64% humidity in our house.
Yeah, I think we're probably about 90% right.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, we're 100% because it's raining.
Somebody walked outside and spit. That's what happened.
It doesn't take much here. So, but you know what? It's great because when you go to the beach, the water's like 88 degrees. It's like taking a bath.
Oh, that's not so bad, then. I mean, I guess you could stay home and just take a bath and not get the salt on you then, but, you know.
The salt water's good for your skin. I'll
always come back, Denise. Always a comeback.
Yeah, there's nothing in the bath water that can kill you. It's more fun down at the beach where you got lots of stuff that can kill you.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's more exciting.
Last weekend we went to the beach and there was all these tourists there. It was, it rained during the day and it was coming and going. And we're out there and there's a stingray.
Mm-hmm.
Not a big deal. But then we walk in a little, ankle deep, and here's all these little sand sharks. And like I always tell Ron, I said, the babies are here. That means the bigger ones are out there.
Uh-huh.
So I don't go out far. But everybody's all excited when they see baby sharks at the beach. And so we always try to make the tourists have fun by letting them see the baby sharks.
Yeah, I can
So,
see that. I'd like to see a baby
but yeah.
shark. Actually, I was down in Florida 2 months ago. My girlfriend and I took a cruise, and so we went out of Fort Lauderdale. So while we were
Mhm.
hanging out in Fort Lauderdale, I spent basically the weekend chasing all the lizards because there's lizards everywhere down there.
Maybe. Oh
Everywhere.
yeah, and they're bigger than
Yeah.
the ones we have. Ours are about this big, and they make a lot of noise.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they make a lot of
Yeah.
sounds.
Oh, yeah. These
Yep.
things just ran from me, so I don't know if they made any noises or not. But I had fun chasing them
Yeah.
anyhow. So
Yeah, we try. I mean, I had one that I was digging in the flower bed, and one came up to me and ran across my hand, but I don't think it knew I was really there. I think it just thought it was some rocks or something. But
yeah,
that's
some
been
nice,
about it.
nice warm soft rocks.
Well, no, our rock, yeah, softer than the rocks we have here. But, but yeah, you know. So, how did you like your cruise?
I loved it. That was actually the first vacation I've ever taken. I mean, I've traveled a lot, but it's always like to do something, to do a convention or do an investigation or,
Yeah.
something with work. But this one was just, we're going to go on a cruise and I'm not going to think for 3 days. And I loved it. It was great. I need to do it again soon.
We went on one in February, and the only time I had internet was when we were docked or on land.
See, that's what I loved about it. There was nobody getting a hold of me. There was no connections. There was no. I was isolated. It was awesome. And then we went down to Nassau, and I just
Oh
fell in
yeah,
love with. I went.
Yeah.
Oh, fell in love with Nassau. I got offered a
Oh
job
yeah,
down
that's
there.
nice.
Oh, it's awesome.
we stayed there for our 25th
Yeah,
wedding
you ought to just
anniversary.
go there on your own.
Yeah, fly.
Stay for about 5 days.
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking about doing that, but the
Yeah,
problem is
definitely.
I have a problem with when I go someplace and I really like it, and I get offered a job, I'll likely stay there. And so my girlfriend had to kind of drag me away because I got offered a job bartending. It was a new restaurant that had opened, and they were looking to increase their drink menu. So I got a job offer, and she's like, "No, we're not. I got like a ton of stuff going on. So I just bought a house to flip." And,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, "You just got the house. You're going back home." I'm like, "But I could just stay here." And she's like, "Where are you gonna live?" I'm like, "On the beach. It's
Yeah.
Nassau. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
freeze."
but I will tell
No.
you though, we met a really nice man when we were there at the top of the Queen's staircase, and we happened to see all these walking tours, and I had a book. Of course, you know me, I'm going to be prepared, I'm going to know something about the area that we're in. And so we get up there and we're walking around, and this guy spent the his time telling us about how they rebuild after hurricanes and all this other stuff. It was great. We got a great history lesson from this guy from
Oh,
the
that's
top of the
cool.
staircase. And we also got to witness court. We did not realize we were walking right through the middle of it when we were there. And but yeah, we stayed there for 5 days, and our favorite part, I think, was, for me anyway, was we went out to a place called Harbor Island,
Okay.
and we took the fast ferry out there and went to the pink sand beach.
Oh, that's cool.
Ron goes, "I bet it's not pink." And we get there, and of course, we're on the wrong side of the island. He goes, "See, told you." And I said, "We're not there yet." And we get over there, and he goes, "Oh my God, it's pink."
Isn't that from the snails or shellfish or mollusks or something?
It's from bacteria from the coral reef.
Oh, okay. All right.
But Florida supposedly has a pink sand beach somewhere.
Mhm.
I don't know where it is. So, and
Well, see,
hey,
now you get a
Richard, I
quest.
hope you're doing well. So, yeah, my next thing is to find the pink sand beach in Florida.
Awesome. That sounds like a
But
worthwhile
you know,
excursion.
oh yeah, I mean, we've got the beautiful white beaches here where we are. I mean, the emerald waters and all that. We lucked out. We got in a good place
Nice.
and got to meet people like Richard Johnson, down in Pensacola, and Colleen too. I hope she's doing well, Richard. And so we're liking it here. And if you make it down this way, make sure you reach out, because
I'll have to stop and see you guys, because I definitely want to spend more time down in Florida. I had a lot of fun down there. I almost bought a bar. I can see myself ending up accidentally down there sometime.
And Crystal, we do have family in Clearwater Beach. We were just down there back in February. So when we took our cruise, it took out of Tampa. So, and we went to Mexico. It was okay. The family part was the fun part. The family part.
Yeah, Denise said you're not at the distillery now.
Well, I'm still technically at the distillery. Honestly, I had to kind of take a step back. Bartending was beating me up too bad. I got to the point that it screwed up my feet. I couldn't hold a cocktail shaker anymore because my elbows were so screwed up. Just working all the time, doing the craft cocktail stuff. It's like, I had to just take a break and take a step back. They haven't taken my keys away yet, though, so I'm still technically employed there. So one of these days I'll go back. It's just been a bit.
Well, I was very worried when I saw that you had taken a different job.
Yeah, well, so I took the different job because of the benefits. So health insurance is a really important thing in the world, and no distillery in the world, really, no booze related job gives you health insurance. And so it was really for the benefits that I took the other job.
Maybe it's just the booze related job you have, because I've heard some of them have some really good benefits in Kentucky.
Oh yeah, in Kentucky, because you got the big distilleries down there.
Yeah,
I mean, the distillery I'm working for it's like below micro. I don't know if there's a size below micro, but we're small. I mean, I think they're only producing 3,500 bottles a year, as opposed to the
mini micro. Is that it?
That is small.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tiny distillery, but I mean, our commercial still is only 100 gallons. And so the cool part about that is it lets us do some really neat stuff that you couldn't do when you're doing a 10,000 or 15,000 gallon run. So we have 30 products on the market that are all very different, because it's nothing to clean the still and do a different run. And so it's let me play with a lot of stuff I'd never have a chance to. That's why we ended up doing the absinthe. The absinthe that we do is actually done in a 5-gallon still. So, it's interesting. I miss it. I do want to spend some more time doing alcohol stuff, but like I said, I bought this house to flip, and that was kind of a two-pronged thing. I'll let you know when I get it up. I'll be running it here pretty quick. I'm going to do the paranormal flipper, because everybody says that when you do construction in a building, it amps the activity. As far as I'm aware, no one has ever gone about trying to actually prove that. It's just people take it as that's what it is. And so I bought a house to prove it. So during the course of the flip, we're going to be investigating. We're going to see if activity amps as we're doing construction in there.
Was it already reported to be haunted?
As soon as I walked into the place, the feeling. When you walk in, you go, oh yeah, this place is way active. That's what I got when I went to even look at the place. Like as soon as I walked in the door, I'm like, oh yeah, there's activity in here. So that, combined with the fact that there's a ton of original custom trim from the late 1800s, and the wide beam oak floors from the original 1800s, and stained glass windows. So that, combined with the fact that I'm like, there's energy in here, so it just made sense. So it's kind of a side project apart from the PRI stuff.
Yeah. Well, if you've got stained glass and any of it's broken, I would keep it. And because people like to make jewelry out of all that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there is one broken panel in it I have to replace, but.
And not to mention glazed glass. If it's an old house and it's got glazed glass, They also try to make jewelry out of that because it
really?
looks opalescent.
Oh yeah, yeah, most
So
definitely.
I know that from McPike Mansion. They
Oh,
they
okay.
do it there at McPike Mansion. They sell a lot of earrings and necklaces with some of the broken glass from the house.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be an interesting project. The plan is, we'll get it flipped and turn it around, and hopefully we build a following while we're doing it, and people are interested because it's, hopefully we appeal to both people that are interested in house flipping and people that are interested in paranormal research. So it's something that's
One
never been done before that I know of.
one of the places that we stayed in Ozark, Missouri, it's haunted,
Mhm.
and it was owned by one of the police officers from Live PD.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Susan and Mike took us there, and that look. He was kind of documenting. He wasn't a paranormal investigator, so he couldn't document it the right way. But he was actually showing things that was occurring while he was doing the the renovations on the place.
See, that's cool. And, I've
Again,
heard it so
yeah,
Yeah, it was
often.
active.
You get that activity, and I firmly believe that's probably true, that when you do that kind of work, you're gonna stir things up. But until we actually test it, nobody can really say 100%.
right. So, are you going to be doing an investigation to baseline it before you start anything up?
Yeah, we've already started some minor stuff. I had to fix the holes in the roof before I really could do much of anything. So it does have a new roof on it, but before we do anything internal, I'll do a baseline and we'll go from there.
I mean, the roof is important.
Yeah, yeah, because there was some. So this house was interesting. Frame wise, structure wise, it's very very solid. Anything aesthetic, forget it. Like basically, it's the ultimate flip.
Mhm.
There is no furniture anywhere, in the house. There's no cabinets in the kitchen. I mean, it's all gone. So it's basically a blank slate that we're working with.
It's kind of good.
Yeah, I don't mind so much. I mean, it's got a newer, like
No,
within
it's
five
not.
years.
That's not a bad deal because you can set that kitchen any way you want.
Exactly. I can lay it out however I want. So,
Yeah,
the furnace and water heater
yeah,
are within 5 years old. So they were new, and I'm getting the central air put in here pretty quick.
yeah,
But other than that, yeah, it's a blank slate. I can do whatever I want to with it. So we're having a lot of fun making plans right now.
yeah. That's good.
Well, don't make it so great that you want to live in it.
Well, that's what my girlfriend's afraid of. She's like, we're going to fall in love with this place. I'm like, well, you can fall in love with it. We're still selling it because it owns about 90% of my money right now. So it needs to be sold.
Yeah.
So, what is your time frame for getting it all done so that you can
Well,
flip it?
I was hoping for this fall, but I think it's going to be next spring to do it the right way. We were going to try and push it. And it's like, honestly, it's been so crazy hot up here. Every time we walk in, I'm like, there's only so much we can do. So we're not moving quite as fast as I wanted to with it. It's like, no, we'll just wait. We'll work on it over the winter, get it the way we want it, and then we'll sell it in the spring.
Yeah, paint doesn't go on well when it's got skin on top of it.
No, it really doesn't. It's been a nightmare trying to do anything because, like I said, it's been just crazy hot up here. So he's like, "All right,
Yeah.
that's fine. We'll go slow and then we'll do it the right way and we'll deal with it next spring."
Yeah, Ron's been busy painting everything
Have
here.
you done a lot of work on other houses? Have you done any rehabs or anything like that?
I actually have. I mean, living up in Alaska, it's ridiculous the amount of stuff that you end up doing without even trying. So since I was up there for 9 years, I think I did I mean, we've rebuilt foundations, we've lifted houses,
Right.
we've done
Yeah, I
everything
figured you
dumb
did.
that you could possibly do. So, oh, approximate time frame, we don't know exactly, because I'm guessing the courthouse that had the records probably burned, like a lot of them did. So there's no exact date in the deed, but everything is kind of leaning towards 1890s ish, right in that area.
That is old.
Yeah,
Are
I
you
mean,
going to try to make it? Are you going to try to make it period, or are you going to try to modernize it?
So it's going to be what I'm calling a modern Victorian. So I want to do as many of the Victorian touches because I love Victorian homes, but then I still want to have the cool electronic locks and the Wi-Fi integrated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So Victorian with modern gewgaws basically is the best way I can describe it.
It's a good way to go. I'd like to say hi to Brandon and James. Thank you guys for coming. Yep. If any of you have any questions at all for Dan, please bring them up. He loves to answer questions. He wrote a book about the paranormal, so he likes to answer questions. He's really good at it. And if you don't have questions about the paranormal, you can ask about spirits in the bottle. He can tell you about them too.
Yeah, so we try and cover
so what have you and your team been doing lately on
paranormal? So honestly, it's been kind of slow. We just trying to get together and stuff has been a little tough. We've done a couple of just test investigations to see where things are kind of falling apart, and so we're doing some revision on the methodology right at the moment. Honestly, I've hit the point with investigations that unless we're doing it to test something, like I don't often go, you know what, I want to go spend the night in an abandoned house and just investigate. And so we're actually working more on the back end. We're trying to do a couple things on the behind the scenes that if we can make it work, and I think we're at least somewhat on track to make it work, it's going to change the world. The REG stuff is continually, we use that as just a regular thing now. It continually proves itself. And so we've been, it just kind of become part of our investigation methodology is to use the random event generator now. But we're also working on some stuff, and I don't really want to go too deep into it because I don't know if I'm full of shit or not. But
we think you are, but that's okay.
But yeah, we're hoping within the next year to year and a half, we're going to come out with a software that will actually be able to flag EVPs. Okay. So you'd be able to basically upload all of your electronic recordings, and it would scrub those for EVPs and then spit them out. So you'd be able to actually do evidence review and. Yeah, if we can do it, I mean, it'll change the world because you'd be able to do hours and hours and hours of audio in 30 seconds.
Yeah, the thing is would it tell you what it's saying, or do you have to listen to it over and over again and try to figure out what it's saying? And is it relevant to what's going on?
So there again, that goes into our investigation methodology, right? What it's saying isn't nearly as important to the way we investigate is that it's saying something.
Right.
So I care that it's an EVP. I don't really care if it says, hey, Ted's car was left in the garage in 1972. I don't, that's further on down the road for us. So first steps is being able to flag an EVP, because then if we can actually flag it and we're flagging the time and stuff like that, and AI has been kind of a godsend with a lot of that stuff. We're playing with a lot of AI stuff just for analysis purposes. But if we can start figuring out the when and the where and what the circumstances were that we're getting EVPs, then we can actually, further on start worrying about what they say and are they logical and is it germane to the investigation. But right now, it's
the other thing you'll need to put into that data is what type of recording is it? Where did it come from?
Exactly.
because that's a key thing. And I mean, I know that people put a lot of stock into their Zoom recorders, their cell phone recorders, their whatever their real EVP recorder, whatever it is that they're using, they put a lot of stock in it.
Oh yeah.
I would like to see which one is truly giving you actual real EVPs, not your finger over the mic
Exactly.
that you're moving around and it's picking up air and noise from
Exact. Yep.
somewhere else. I'm not saying that they're all that, but I know that it happens,
Oh, it absolutely
that
does.
some things are misconstrued.
So, I mean, I think the biggest challenge that we've had is, so you have all this stuff, this paranormal research stuff that people like this device and they like this device, and the spirits are talking to them on this one, and the spirits are talking to them on that one. We're trying to do a lot more broad stroke, I guess. So basically, we're kind of trying to go top down and say, first of all, is this an EVP? Number one, is this actually an electronic voice phenomena? Once we can determine that, once we can tag that 100%, then we worry about what it says or why it says it or how long it lasts or whatever. But step one, and that's always been one of my big things with paranormal research, is people love to jump to the end. People love to say this happened, therefore it's this, and that becomes their Bible, and that's what it is. And so that's always been one of the huge things with the PRI, is to maintain objectivity. And first of all, you take the broad sweeps. That was the whole point of the REG, was to try to determine, is there something actually paranormal happening? Because it's great to assume, and it's great to go, hey, I was there and this happened, therefore. But there had never been any scientific actual measure of, is there paranormal activity, which is where the REG came in. And now, after 4 years, 5 years of dealing with that, we're pretty comfortable saying, this is pretty valid. It really hasn't failed us yet. We've done 60, 70 investigations using the random event generator, and it's always held true to what it's supposed to. And so, that's step one. So, okay, now we have proof that, yes, there is paranormal activity. But then, step two is going to be, how do we isolate this? How do we start to understand this? What circumstances do they happen under? And so it's a lot slower process than what I wish it was. But to do it
There's a lot of
correctly,
pieces to that puzzle.
oh, tons and tons and tons of pieces.
Like Tom says, he goes, that would put Ghost Adventures out of business. But one of the things that Ghost Adventures does that they don't even, I don't think that they realize that they're doing, or they're doing it intentionally and people aren't calling them out on it. If you listen to their EVPs lately, in like the last 3 or 4 years, it's somebody on their team's voice.
Yep.
Well, every single time.
So the thing is, and I constantly remind people of this, paranormal entertainment is paranormal entertainment.
Oh yeah, I
know. There's a difference between an entertaining TV show, and I will give Baggins, he is one hell of a showman. I mean, he is a great entertainer. I was out in Vegas right before I went down to Florida, matter of fact, and we went to his haunted house, the Haunted Museum.
Yeah.
Highly recommend that if you're ever out.
Did you see my bear in there? Was my bear in there?
Which bear would that be?
The one that did all the jiggles on the Sally House episode.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but yeah, honestly, there's so much in there. Well, there's like such a crazy amount of stuff. It took us, I think, 2.5 hours was the tour. But there's stuff from Anton LaVey. I got to see Kevorkian's van. There was Ed Gaines' axe and bucket, or cast iron pot. There's just this ridiculous amount of stuff in there that you just walk out and you have a paranormal hangover just from being close to the place. I think, there's just so
Well,
much stuff in there.
so when you were there, did you happen to go to Rainforest Cafe?
I did not.
Well, next time you have to go there. That's where our daughter is the general manager of.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, I will definitely. Which is it in one of the casinos or?
It's on the out. It's upstairs at the Planet Hollywood.
Yeah.
It used to be the Goratorium a long time ago. And what's funny is that the first time I went to Vegas, that was one of the first bars I ever went to was the Goratorium, and it was with work, so it wasn't like, that's not my kind of thing.
Right.
Eli Roth is not anything to do with me, but yeah, we were talking about that the other day, and she goes, "You do know that you took me to the Goratorium when we went?" And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "That's the Rainforest Cafe," and I said, "I did not know that."
Oh, that's funny.
So,
yeah, I'll have to hit
I
that
thought
up
it
next time I
was,
go
but
out there.
but yeah, she's the general manager there, and they now serve breakfast. If anybody's in Vegas and they need a good breakfast, go to Rainforest Cafe. They're serving breakfast now.
I mean, typically when I'm in Vegas, I try to avoid breakfast like the plague. That means I got up way too early.
Yep.
So, I try and sleep until at least lunch hour. But if I do find myself needing breakfast, I'll know where to go.
Yeah. So she does a good job. They do a really good job there at the Rainforest Cafe. So
nice.
She told me not to come because she goes, then I can't work if you're there. And but we do have yes, Tom, it is the old Aladdin. In fact, all the fixtures are still the Aladdin fixtures. They just added movie posters to all the rooms. So, because I got to stay in the Goodwill Hunting room a long time ago. But we have a question here
Planet
from
Hollywood.
Yeah, that's where I stayed for work. So, James has a question. He says, "Back to the house. So, how are you feeling about the energy of that house? Was it negative or not?"
No, I wouldn't call it negative. It's just active. If it was negative, I honestly probably would have thought twice about getting it because that's just a big old pain in the butt. I don't like dealing with negative energy if I don't have to, but there was that heaviness, there was that presence that you could feel. And I'm okay with that. I am actually really down with that sort of thing. But yeah, no, there was nothing that was, there was no get outs, there was no walls bleeding or anything. So I'm just basically, my guess is that it's probably the original owner of the house, because you could tell when it was first built, there was a ton of details put into it. And then it was just let go. And I think the last people, it was like a rental, and they did terrible things to it. And so, I mean, if there's anything, I got a little bit of frustration.
Where they had to clear out all the cabinets and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was a nightmare. They drilled holes through that custom trim that, like, there's the freaking thermostat. They drilled through the two walls of trim. So there was trim on either side of the divider that they put the thermostat on. They drilled through both of them just to run a wire through one of them. So, this is the kind of dumb shit, and, 1,000 staples here and there and running screws into it. And so I'm guessing the original owner of the house is probably just spinning. And so I do hope that activity spikes as we're working on it, but I hope it spikes in a more pleasant way as they see we're trying to bring it back,
We had a friend in Leavenworth, Kansas. He was my boss at one time. And he bought a house on Esplanade.
On the bluffs.
It's right on the bluffs of the river. And a lot of the officers from when Leavenworth was originally built lived in these houses. Carrie Nation lived down the street.
Okay.
So that tells you this was not a random neighborhood. These are all very historic homes on this street. So he bought this house basically on the the steps of the courthouse. A guy had died in the house. He had died from a tooth infection in July when he was found with his dogs. He had big dogs.
Okay.
And he was right in the middle of the floor. And it was, so you can imagine how horrible this place was.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I'm his friend. He calls me and he says, I know that you're into this stuff. He goes, I think my house is haunted. I go, it is.
Guess.
Well, he had already started the work on it.
Yeah. Then he started the work on it.
No, he was already started about a month or two in. And he says, I'm getting some weird stuff going on here.
Then he calls me like 3 months later and he goes, Denise, my house is happy. I said, I know. He goes, how do you know? I said, because you're making it back to the house that it needs to be. He restored it back to what it would have been like in 1868.
Okay. Okay.
It was beautiful. And we were walking through his house and they had moved the staircase, which is common in older houses, especially when they make them into apartments or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
We go up the steps and I go, well, this is interesting. And I hit the wall and open a door. And he's like, I didn't know that was there.
Oh, that's really cool.
And he looked and he goes, they had said this house was on the Underground Railroad. And we found newspapers in there because it was owned by
stuff in there.
It was owned by a German guy that when it was originally built,
right,
he ran a newspaper out of there.
Okay.
So the house was built, like I said, it was built like in the 1830s. So it was part of the Underground Railroad. And Susan, I did not know your sister lives in Leavenworth, but Leavenworth is one of the most haunted towns in the whole country.
Oh, yeah.
They just don't embrace it like Atchison, Kansas does.
Mm-hmm.
They need to. They need to embrace it. I know that you've met Cassie.
Oh, yeah.
That lives in Leavenworth.
Yep.
And, they got the underground there and all that. But yeah. So here he is. He's thinking that he has a horrible haunting. We were walking through his basement and I told him, I said, your tool, I don't know anything other than what I'm telling him. We're in the basement underneath the front porch. And I go, your tools keep getting moved somewhere else. And his worker that he had that I forgot his name, but he was from another country and he wore his crucifix every day. He said his prayers every day because he was terrified that the house was hating him. But all the power tools kept being moved from under the front porch in the basement to back by the door.
Yeah, that was the weird thing that was happening. He said it just happened too much.
Yeah.
He said there must be something to this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing is, and that's kind of why I decided to do this. Like I said, it wasn't one of the, I'm going to be out to debunk this whole thing. It's, as far as I'm aware, no one has ever confirmed it over the course of a restoration of a place. And so that's kind of what I'm setting out to do. And if it works, I'll probably do another one because it is a lot of fun. And now all the realtors in the area are super excited because, I told them, like, I'm only interested in refurbing haunted houses. And so, they're loving that. Well, yeah, exactly. It's so, yeah, the YouTube thing will probably be like the Paranormal Flipper when I put it up or something like that. But it's going to be, essentially flipping the house and investigating. So, people are digging house flipping and they want to see some really cool stuff. They can watch that, or, if they want to see the paranormal stuff, they can tune in for those episodes or that bit of it. So, it's a little bit of a cross divide kind of thing. We're really moving into the trying to figure out how to bring mainstream fans into a more scientific bent on it. And to that point, actually, I'm in the process right now. I'm going through all the legal stuff. The PRI is going to expand a little bit. We're going to create an organization called the PRF, the Paranormal Research Foundation. And the concept of that is that I'll base it kind of like, remember how the original Geographic Society stuff worked? Where people that were interested in this stuff would pay X amount of money for a membership per year. And then that membership money went to fund the people so they could actually, so Jacques Cousteau could dive but basically, the money from the National Geographic memberships went to help that documentation. I want to do the same type of thing in the paranormal world. I think there's a lot of people that have a big interest in paranormal research and paranormal studies. And in the past, they've watched all the shows, rabidly because they're interested in it. But then over the course of the years and a lot of the shows being very similar, they kind of just said, okay, well, they're all going to be the same. There's nothing that's going to be much different. They're all using the same equipment. I'm just going to kind of move on. But the PRF is kind of it's kind of geared to those people that they're interested, but maybe they can't go out and investigate. Maybe their life circumstances don't allow it, or they just don't have time or whatever. I want to be able to deliver to them what a real paranormal investigation is like. And I want to, in turn, fund the teams that are doing good work, but are never going to get a TV show because they're actually doing research, and research doesn't get ratings. And so I think this kind of middle ground organization that lets people that are interested help support this kind of stuff. And I think it's probably going to be, we'll see. It's going to be interesting. Hang on one sec. I have to let the cat out of the room, so I'll be
I
right
heard.
back.
So it's either our cat or his.
No, one of our cats is by my feet. The other cat is up there, and the other one's
where Kila's at.
She's hiding under the bed.
It's usually bugging me.
Yeah, she's hiding under the bed. So
he's my temporary cat that's been here for 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh, he's your
cat sitting. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
No.
I'm cat sitting, and he just hasn't left. So.
Yeah, that we understand. All of our cats, two of the three we have, we found.
Yeah, you don't really pick
one of the
them.
Cats that we
pick you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the cats that we found, we had her for 14 years, and I told Ron when I got her, I said, I'll find her a home soon. I did.
What did I say right after you said that? I said, no, you won't.
So, hey, Dave, and here you go. We got another question from James. He goes, do you conduct international investigations with other organizations? He stayed at Mannheim in the old German army barracks from the Reich era. Weird things happened there with footsteps in the attic areas when no one was up there. Things of nature. This was back in the day, so this was a while ago, but
right.
He's asking basically, do you, I know you do.
We do. I know a lot of international people. We haven't officially done an actual investigation internationally, but I go back and forth with a lot of international people that hit me up for, hey, what about this, or hey, what about that? I do want to do some more international stuff. My goal, if I can actually make this house flipping thing work, I would love to retire from my 9 to 5 day a week job and actually do this stuff. This is kind of what the bent is I want to do this full time. So I'm trying to position myself so I can do this full time now.
Yeah, but you know what? There's no benefits.
I know. That's the one thing that's been stopping me. That's the only reason I still go to work at 8 o'clock every morning is I've got to figure out health insurance.
Probably a good time to do it.
Yeah.
A lot better than when I did.
Yeah, I'll just kick around for another 10 years and then I can just get Social Security and be good. So
I just need to make it a few more years. I'm not going to say how many in case anybody from work is listening, but I need to make it a few more years in my job. I don't look like I'm old enough to retire from what I'm told. So, but it's hard to work when somebody else is retired
Oh,
and
that's
wants
really
to do
hard.
stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, it gets harder and harder.
But let's add that we're also full-time babysitters on top of my full-time job.
Oh, yeah, that's tough.
It is. And it's not from baby Utica either. Do you know that baby Utica is going to be 8 years old in November?
Has it been that long?
Yep.
Oh my God. I would not have guessed that. I would have said
Ruby,
4 or 5 maybe.
Yep.
Yeah, we remember exactly when we came out.
It was a fun trip. I wish more people had
Oh,
showed
it
up.
was.
It
That was
was
a
yeah, a
lot
lot
of
of fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
apparently-
Yeah, that was great.
Apparently, we weren't the only ones that had a lot of fun. But, you know, I do tell people that story about Larry
Yeah.
every now and then. Because the look on your face when I said that
Yeah,
was amazing.
Well, you know, the consistency across equipment was just nuts. You know, because
Yeah.
everything was saying Larry. It wasn't one thing that you got stuck
Right.
in a loop. It was everything that, you know, up to and including EVPs, if I recall right. I think we got just a straight
Yeah.
EVP.
Echo box.
But the thing
Echo
is I
box.
said it.
Yeah.
But remember, I said it at the lodge, not at the location where we were
Yep.
doing the investigation. So I said it before we even got there, and I didn't know who Larry was until Ron and who walked down there with you to the memorial? Was it David?
There's a couple of us.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, I think it was you and Glidden and John might have gone
Yeah.
down.
David.
Yeah, it wasn't me
Yeah.
because it was February. It was cold.
It was chilly. Well, remember there was we got that weird warm up that weekend?
Yeah, I say, yeah, we lucked out on the weather.
Oh yeah, we did. No snow.
I mean, that was, we got really lucky.
The thing is we've always wanted to go back there, not to the pub, but to the area to go to Starving Rock and all that. And we just
it's a very cool area. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Duffy's is now it's not Duffy's anymore. It's a different place that doesn't necessarily have the same character that it did, but it's an okay place.
Did they remodel it?
Oh, completely. I can't imagine how much money they put into it. They completely gutted the basement, did a whole new walk-in cooler down there. The upstairs, remember we went upstairs and had to wait through all that stuff? It's a big empty event center now. They completely gutted it. They tore all the walls out of it. Yeah,
Wow.
it's totally different up there.
Well, too bad you weren't there to record what kind of activity they had during the.
It would have been interesting because those guys went in and they just ripped stuff. I mean, there was no careful trying to save. Actually, I recovered a couple of the doors out of the dumpster because they were original 1800 doors and they were just chucking them. You know, they didn't care. So I pulled a bunch of stuff out and ended up giving it to an antique dealer friend of mine.
Oh. Well, let us know about PRF.
I will.
And James, just to give you a heads up, we have done some investigations internationally from here remotely, mostly because we haven't been anywhere except, well, on a ship to Mexico lately. That has been about it. Yeah, well, we did do an investigation in the Bahamas, but that was just me and Ron. And it was back before people were doing paranormal investigating mainstream kind of thing. If
I do want to go to Scotland next year. Scotland is on my bucket list for, I think next year is when we get it slated. And
we were supposed to go to Ireland in September.
2 months. Yeah.
Oh, were you?
And it got canceled because there wasn't enough people.
That makes it hard. Yeah. But
we really wanted to go with this group of people. So.
But yeah, I am definitely going to Scotland. I need to investigate some castles. I got a bunch of friends over there that have been bugging me for years to come over, so it's time. So that's going to happen. But so yeah, hopefully there'll be some more international data. We did have, I don't know, I haven't talked to Mike recently. We did have a gentleman. He was actually a parapsychologist over in England that had read. Remember, you guys knew we had the paper published over for the
I have a copy of it.
Yeah, okay. I thought you did. And he had actually read the paper and he was intrigued, so he was trying to duplicate her stuff. So I know he and Mike have been back and forth. I don't know what's going on with that or anything.
So James, send it to the Paranormal Pride Facebook, and I'll look at it. So, but so what else are you guys working on? House, Scott, and Brandy. And...
Scott, well, so Brandy is she actually has a bow now, so she's spending most of her time with him. She's kind of stepped a little bit away from the paranormal stuff. So we haven't seen Brandy in a while. Scott's doing well. Scott's got a girlfriend now.
Oh, good.
Good.
Does she like Rat?
She does like
Poison?
Rat, yes. Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
yeah. She's into all this stuff. Actually, it was the owner of Duffy's daughter that he started.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I kind of, well, they had met, but I kind of reacquainted them, and they think they've been dating for 8 months now, almost pushing a year. So
well, I'm happy for Scott.
All right.
Yeah, she's actually going.
Sorry, the cat got me.
Oh,
her claws got my toes.
That'll happen.
Oh,
but yeah, she's. But yeah, Dawn is so Dawn is actually Pat and Lyle's daughter, the owners of Duffy's Tavern.
Oh, okay.
So that's how they met the first time, and that's so that it's all kind of circular, like things usually are. But so yeah, she's actually going to be kind of taking over the cartography stuff that Brandy was doing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, that's good.
So yeah, she's excited about it. She's actually she's a nurse, so she understands charting very well. And so I think she's going to be a really
with the rest of the team.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think she's going to be a good fit. So I'm excited to see where that goes.
Is Lisa still part of your team?
Mm-hmm.
And shoot, what was her name? She just had surgery. She was
just
in the
Peggy.
hospital.
Yep, Peggy's still part. Mike is still part. We haven't really lost anybody. Like I said, it's been vague. I haven't been able to get down there as much as I've wanted to over the last couple of years because my personal life has been insane. But yeah, we're all still together. We all still talk. We all still hang out. I was actually down there 2 weeks ago because Jason and I were going over some stuff. He conned me into being the bartender for a Friday night at the Paracon this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's doing a YouTube event evening on Friday, and he hit me up, asked me if I'd bartend it. So I had to go down and make sure that we were square in alcohol and make sure that I wasn't going to go to jail in Leavenworth, Kansas or anything like that. So
yeah, you don't want to go to a federal prison.
I prefer not to if I can avoid it.
If you come to prison here down at Santa Rosa County, you get to meet the Tiger King.
Oh, well, there we go. I'm in. I will come down and break some laws in your neighborhood.
And you know what? Chris Lee was in Pensacola.
Who?
The one who just got out. Chris Lee. The one that Trump pardoned.
Oh.
Yep.
Really?
He was in Pensacola.
Okay. Well, so clearly I need to go to jail in Florida, if anywhere.
Oh, you'd recognize him because he's very flamboyant.
I'm sure he doesn't blend into a crowd.
No. No, but yeah, because he was. I guess when he was caught, he was in Gulf Breeze, which is in our county.
Oh, okay.
So, but things I know randomly. We go by the jail when we go to the beach. On the way to the beach, the jail's this way, the beach is this way.
There you go. It's those random bits of knowledge that are the good stuff. So it's okay.
Oh yeah, I'm learning the history of Pensacola and the weird stuff that has happened here. So I don't know. It'll be interesting someday to put all that to use.
Oh yeah, you guys investigating it all down there?
We did. We investigated a fort. It's just family stuff has taken a precedence. We've been having paranormal meetups every month.
Okay.
We're coming up on a year in September. and
Those are going real good.
those are going
Oh,
really
that's
good.
good.
It's picking up steam. We've picked up some different people from different teams have shown up. People have been reaching out more, and
So what
I think
exactly is that? What are the details on that?
basically we just get together, and it's kind of like what you do at a Paracon minus all the crap. You know, you
Okay.
get to talk and meet and visit. Last month, we went on a small walking tour of downtown Milton, and one of the ladies in our that comes to our meetups, her son was on Ghost Hunters. She
Oh,
never
really?
told us that. Yeah, for
She didn't tell us that he was a tour guide
yeah, he's a
for
tour guide.
the walking tour. I was like, that would have been nice.
Yeah, that's
and
At
good
least he knows
information.
the area, right?
Yeah,
and
no
he's the local
doubt.
historian for the town.
Yeah.
So, and he was pretty much pointing out this house and why it's haunted, and this house why it's haunted, and this house, and then this house. And I mean, we couldn't walk past any house without him having a story about it. And we only did not even a fifth of the walking tour that they do.
Right. But I mean,
And so,
honestly, don't you think like any structure over 50 years old has some kind of activity going on?
Yeah, these are back to the mid 1800s.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, you're gonna have some residual stuff, I
right.
think, kind of everywhere, which is,
yeah,
not what people generally assume.
Mhm.
But I mean, I know every time we've investigated, I've never come away completely clear from a single investigation. We always get something.
yeah,
There may not be a lot, there may not be a ton of activity, but there's always something anomalous that happens, which
something that
kind
keeps you
of,
coming back.
yeah, it's like I really truly believe that paranormal activity is way more common than what we really give it credit for.
Mhm.
I actually call it the law of plausible deniability.
Yeah,
Where basically you run across these paranormal things in the course of everyday living, but your brain doesn't have time for it. And so you just kind of push it off to the side and you go, well, that was weird. Oh, there was, a strange note in the middle of my kitchen floor when I got up this morning. Huh, but I'm late for work, so you throw it away and you move on with your life, or your keys end up in the freezer and you didn't put them there. I think this stuff happens all the time, and we just in the course of life just go, I don't have time to deal with it, and so you ignore it. So
yeah,
I
we write it
really
off.
think, yeah, I really think that hauntings and activity are a lot more prevalent than what we think they are.
Well, James has a bunch of questions for us tonight.
Oh, okay.
He asks, "What about old items that end up retaining an attachment? How do you test for that?"
Honestly, I don't, or I haven't. Um, just because the circumstance hasn't really happened for me to test for that. I don't know. I mean, that would require, how do you effectively test for it? Off the top of my head, I can't answer.
Yeah.
You'd have to baseline wherever you had the item at. You would have to somehow focus all the investigation on that item and try and trigger off that item. But it'd be really tough because how do you know there's not something that's naturally occurring? Actually, my condo here was built in 94 and it's haunted as crap. I mean,
Okay.
my daughter hates it over here because she'll come over and do her laundry. I stay at my girlfriend's a lot, so she's here by herself, and she's like, "Dad, the TV, the sound bar kept going on and off on its own, and I hear people walking, and I've seen shadows." I'm like, "Yeah, no, it's active. It's an active location. It really is. I've seen shadow figures in my house, but is it
Did you
due?
bring it? Did you bring that stuff there yourself? The spirits that are there, or were they there when you bought it?
Who
Do you
knows?"
know for sure?
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is you can't, and that's part of this whole process, starting kind of from the top, determining whether there's actually such a thing as paranormal activity, and then you start drilling down. Once you get those broad sweeps, then you can start focusing in on details and what factors are making this more prevalent or less prevalent. And it's the way science works. For years I've always said that modern paranormal research is right now kind of parallel to what archaeology was in the late 1800s, early 1900s, when they would blow the hole in the side of the pyramid and they would drag out whatever they could find, and they were archaeologists, and they would have mummy unwrapping parties in Victorian England. They had the interest, but they weren't really doing it scientifically. And I kind of think that's where we're at right now. And so we're trying to move the science forward without the
anecdotal stuff from TV and what people feel.
Exactly. And I mean, it's such a hard thing because, I mean, a ghost is basically a literary construct. We understand ghosts from reading literature. Read A Christmas Story. It's this traditional ghost stuff. And so when something happens that parallels that literary design, we go, oh, that's a ghost.
Yeah.
But really, when you take 1,000 steps back and you look at it, yes, something we don't understand happened. But when you remove the literature, now it's just an anomaly. And so now we have to start categorizing it. We have to see if we can duplicate it. That's where the science really comes into play. And that's actually what we're going to lecture about this year at the KC Paracon, is why would you investigate scientifically?
So when is the Kansas City Paracon?
It is the first weekend in August this year in Leavenworth, Kansas. Jason got a venue in Leavenworth. So
where did he get it in Leavenworth?
I don't know. You would have to go out to the KC Paracon, look up KC Paracon. I think it's Paracon KC actually. So there's 2 of them I know going on in Kansas City now. What's that?
Yeah, I'm surprised we're surprised Leavenworth allowed it.
Right.
So far, so good.
So I will tell you, you need to check out when you're there. We were the very first people to investigate the Carroll Mansion.
Oh, okay.
It is the Leavenworth County or the Leavenworth Historical Society building. My friend John, who we talked about his house on the Esplanade, his wife was one of the docents there.
Oh,
okay. And she drug us in there to investigate it because they were trying to make money for the house. And I put together an entire presentation and sent it to them and told them everything that was going on, told them about how much money they could make when they decided to do this. And they still decided not to, but it's Leavenworth. There's a stigma related to hauntings.
We were going to help them out.
That was even before. No, we were doing the Sally House.
The Sally House. We even thought, well, if we had to pick between the two, we were going to be leaving the Sally House and do that. If we had to,
pick.
Right.
Yeah, and maybe they can get you into the underground.
And we ended up leaving there anyway.
Yeah, but maybe you could get into the underground. As well,
because there wasn't nothing there.
But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I figure we'll probably be back there more often than not. You know how it is with conventions. I mean, we're kind of booked end to end on the convention already. But so you
wasn't
can't really.
That your first one?
The first one was when I met you guys. Yeah. That first year, that was the first convention I'd ever been to.
That was in 2015.
Independence?
Yeah,
that's right.
Shortly after I came back from Alaska. Matter of fact, I
had to laugh because David was sitting catty-cornered from me. And the whole time,
a lot of people there.
At that whole time, he was playing this video of me the whole damn time.
That was a fun convention. I really
enjoyed it. It was. We met a lot of people there.
Yeah. In fact, Frank Bennett. We met him there. His birthday's next Monday.
Well, Carl and Gary.
We met Gary and Carl there. we met Justin.
Hey, you met me.
We met you. We met. Let's see.
Well, I
already knew.
When I left there, I told Denise, I said, what was that guy's name? I said, from Illinois. I said, he had a lot of great ideas. She goes, Dan Williams. I went, oh yeah. I said, we need to get with this guy. I said, too bad he doesn't live, closer, but
yeah, Jason keeps trying to talk me. Koopsick keeps trying to talk me into moving to KC.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, if I didn't have family and everything up here, I'd consider it.
Right.
I love KC, but
Kansas City, Missouri does not take care of their roads.
No, they don't.
We live there. I mean, we can tell you from experience, Kansas City, Missouri is not a good place to live.
Well, there's parts.
But Missouri is a better place to live than Kansas, but not Kansas City, Missouri. So, because in Missouri, they're not taking your guns.
Exactly. And you know how that is with me. That's why I hate living in Illinois as much as I do. But say, Lovey,
it is what it is. Well, you know what? We are going to be done with the show here.
Oh, here she comes. Say she's over there making a bunch of noise.
The cat is now demanding Ron feed her treat. So,
she's over there just eating her cat.
Let me tell you a secret. Everybody, this is the biggest secret ever. Ron plans what they're going to eat every day, how they're going to eat it. He tells them Wednesday is canned food day, Saturday is canned food day, and when they decide they want canned food more, he still gives it to them. He gives them treats.
I'm telling you, I had other cats. They've passed now, but they knew what day it was.
So let me ask you this, Ron: is there a whiteboard involved?
No. He takes all the
sticky pad.
Yeah, a sticky pad. There's a sticky note.
Hey, you got to have chicken and then the seafood. I mean, you don't want to have all seafood all at once.
You got to have organization, man.
Little beef here and there.
So when we get the big packages, he lines it all out on the counter and he puts it in order of how he's going to feed them.
Retirement is treating you well, isn't it?
Oh, that was before that.
I just sit there and do this.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I can see that.
But again, he feeds them. I get the shit end of the deal. I get the litter box.
That's right.
So,
but
needless to say, it is what it is.
So yeah, if any of your viewers are around and about KC, first weekend in August, Leavenworth, we're doing the Paracon KC down there. I think Jason's got us kind of like slotted. I know he's got TV show people, I think, on either end of us, because we're shoved in the middle right after lunch. So I think we're going on 1 o'clock on Saturday.
So August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd?
Yeah. The first weekend in August there. And Friday night, there's their podcast event. I know he's doing tickets for that. I think I'm pouring for like 75 people. We're going to have several podcasts there. And so I'll be behind the bar and probably drinking, because that's what I usually do behind the bar.
Well, just be careful. Leavenworth cops are not very nice.
I've heard this. Yes, I will behave myself.
And if you need to go to a liquor store, go to Leavenworth Liquors. They're haunted.
Oh, good. Okay.
Just same guy, John. He used to own it. He took us in there. Yeah, he used to own it. He now lives in Lone Jack, so he's not there. But it's Leavenworth is an interesting town.
Yeah. Don't
go to 7-Eleven. It's nasty. It's dirty.
They always are. I've never been to a clean one in my life. I'm sure there is some.
Well, there's one in Overland Park that's kind of nice, but they rebuilt it.
I was going to say, nothing against the corporation. I'm sure there's some great ones somewhere. I just haven't found them yet.
I haven't found one either.
They're not a corporation.
I don't see that many of them, but
what you have to keep in mind, 7-Eleven is a franchise.
Oh, okay.
That's why they're so iffy. Same as Circle K's. They're not Casey's
that explains a lot.
Or Wawa's. Mm-hmm. So those are all corporate. The other ones are franchised. So
it does make a difference.
Yeah, it does make a difference. They don't have the quality control. But I'd like to thank everyone. Well, before we do this, where can everybody find you, Dan?
Right now, actually, I don't have a website up because we're completely redoing our website. So if you want to find us or hit us up for anything, Facebook is your best bet. It's Paranormal Research Institute on Facebook. That's really the best way. You can always email us at paranormalresearchinstitute@gmail.com. That one usually comes to me, so I hit that one up every so often. But the most best way to hit us up right now is Facebook. That'll all be changing pretty quick. Hopefully by the end of the summer, the PRF will be up and running. I've got the accounting taken care of. I just have to deal with all the lawyer stuff. And so we're doing it actually. The hoops we're jumping through. It's a federal nonprofit. So it is
Okay.
actually a true federal nonprofit, which is, boy, if you want to start one, a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
It's an absolute nightmare, but I think that's the only way we could effectively do this. So yeah, I'm paying a crap ton of money to lawyers for it. So, but yeah, hopefully that'll be up soon. Like I said, the goal of that is that every dollar towards membership will go towards actual true scientific real investigations. Maybe not even scientific, but real paranormal investigations.
Okay. Well,
So
like I said, I can't wait to hear more about it. When you get it up and running, give me a message and we'll get you on, and you can tell us all about it, and everybody
sweet,
can hear what's
sweet.
going on.
And
So
yeah,
I'd like to.
the paranormal flippers should be coming up within the next couple weeks. I've actually just got to
Oh
edit some
wow, that's
video
neat.
for that, and so yeah, that'll be going on. And then whatever stuff the PRI does, if we get anything really super cool, I guarantee you'll hear about it right away. So
Well, if you need a place to run your paranormal flippers, we've got you.
Yeah,
You know,
let us know whenever that's
yeah.
getting ready to
actually,
go.
you know what? As a matter of fact, you guys could help me out with this. One of the things that's very difficult when you're doing a lot of scientific testing is a broad sample base. So if any of your listeners have EVPs that they have recorded, if they could tell us what device they were recorded on, typically they're going to be in MP3 format. Wave would be perfect, but if they're in MP3, we can deal with it. But if they would like to share them with us, we can absolutely use it as a base of evidence to start doing an analysis on it and start looking. We're looking for common characteristics in EVPs, and probably
Right.
some common characteristics that nobody's ever really looked for before. So I need a broad base of EVP recordings so we can make sure that we're actually concurrent all the way through. So if
Well, I will
anybody has
bring
any,
that up at our next paranormal meetup.
Yeah, there's quite a
On
few teams down here.
yeah,
yeah,
that
I
do a
mean,
lot of EVP.
That's about all they do.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
know
that's
there's
their
a
main.
ton of people, and like I said, that's really what we need right now is a broad evidence base to
Yeah,
work with to make sure we're on the right
that's their
track.
main equipment.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so yeah, if you guys can help
Everyone.
me out with that, that'd be awesome. I would love that.
I will do my best. Like
Thank
I
you
said, I'll
very
bring it up
much.
at our next meeting on July 11th and see, you know, what we can get. Because Richard Johnson, that was in here,
Yep.
he does a lot of EVPs.
Okay. So does
And
Rocky, his team.
Panhandle Paranormal of Pensacola, which Ron and I are honorary members of.
Okay.
They do a lot of that, but
Yeah.
and Kat, she
Mhm.
does a lot. So, but I'd like to thank everyone for listening in tonight, and please join us here next Monday night for my guest Mike Hatcher. He's going to come on, so I'm all booked up as far as that goes. So you guys will be able to enjoy that, and then join us tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Central when we have a different Williams on. This one is Glenn Williams from Gettysburg. He grew up in
Not related.
He grew up in the
Not
Maryland
related.
area, not too far from me.
I mean, could be related, I suppose.
Could be. You never know.
Who knows? And he could be more related to me than you, though. That's the thing. But yeah, we're going to talk to Glenn and find out. So for any of you who used to listen to my shows back in the day when I was on WBHM-DB.com, he was one of the shows that we only played once because he has a mouth. And it's normally not nice.
Oh, geez. So it's like interviewing Bart then.
It's like interviewing Steve DeShavi.
Okay. All right.
Yes. So if it's not the F word, it's probably some other word that's going to be just as bothersome to somebody. But you know what? It'll also be enlightening and fun because he always has such good information to share. But you can catch us every Monday night and Tuesday night on Things Network that Ron and I are members of Things Network of Florida. Carl is also Things Network of Missouri. So keep that in mind. And you can also catch us on Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment, the Paranormal Pride Facebook and YouTube page. And you can also catch us on the Bill of Rights Network and Born TV on Rumble. You can also find me on my show on LinkedIn. So please check those out and make sure that you check out Dark Realm TV on Roku and Amazon Fire, soon to be coming to Apple TV. So check that out because that's where you can watch us in replay. And who knows? You can see us on your big screen instead of this little one.
The
But don't look
sky's the
too
limit.
closely. Yeah, don't look too closely. You might see that I do look a little older than I portray myself to be.
Oh, don't we all?
So you'll see that I don't wear makeup. That's what you'll see. You know, what you see is what you get. So you guys have a great week. And please, please, please keep Judy and Vincent, Donna and Timothy in your prayers while they go through this really hard time. You know, coma is bad. Stage 4 cancer is bad. We're looking at a long time of recovery for both of them. And if you want to be able to help out, or you can help out, let me know. I can tell you how to do that. But you guys all have a great night. And I really appreciate all of you coming and listening. And we'll see you tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye, guys.